I'm Charlie Class, co-host of the Killen Report. Tonight we have a gentleman on that has authored 6 books of various subjects ranging from mathematics to computing. He's now working on a book that far stretches the imagination in the world of art. In fact, that gentleman happens to be my co-host, Michael Killen. Michael, welcome.
Thank you, Charlie. And can I just add, since you've been a little resting on your laurels and you've been forcing me to do most of the shows, I want to say you probably have more anxiety asking questions than I do right now, because I feel it's very hard to ask the right questions all the time.
Well, it really is. We could talk actually about being a TV talk show host quite a bit, but tonight I really want to get into this incredibly complex work of art, and it certainly is art from the beginning to the end. You want to kick it off by telling me a little bit about it?
Oh, about a year and a half ago, I decided to write or produce a book called Encounter the Great Classical Composers Through Personal Stories and Art. And it's been a bit of a passion for me, and it's a book that to some extent is quite sweeping. There are 20+ contributors.
Wait a minute, 20 contributors to this book?
That's correct. And what I decided to do was first try to make a book that would be seductive to the public, not for the academics, not for the great musicologists, but let's just say the baby boomers who are now retiring, who have never had time to pursue culture, and now they have time to pursue the things they couldn't pursue in the past. So I set out to make a book that would appeal to the baby boomers, but also to younger folks, including students. And what I did was I laid it out with 12 chapters, and I decided every chapter would have the name of a classical composer, and then I would find people with knowledge, sensitivity, and who are good writers to share information.
Okay, let me stop you right there. For an example, let's take Giuseppe Verdi, which happens to be in the book, correct? All right. How could you find someone that would have all the talents and skills to do a really perfect, in-depth write-up about Giuseppe Verdi?
Wonderful question. I find them by keeping my eyes and ears open, by reading newspapers, listening to the radio, watching from movies. For example, one of the 2 writers in the Giuseppe Verdi chapter is the head of the West Bay Opera. And I realized that 9 months or so ago, he produced Verdi's Macbeth, Macbeth as an opera. And I said to myself, wait a sec, if he's a general manager of an opera, he knows a tremendous amount about music.
Right.
He obviously, since he worked on this opera, Verdi is all over opera. He knows a lot about Verdi.
Opera, sure.
But what really interests me is he knows about how to produce an opera. So I go to him and I say, Jose Luis Moscovich, I would like you to write a chapter or a major essay on Verdi, but it must sort of pivot off of Verdi, tell us something about Verdi and how Verdi's work, or your work making that opera with Verdi, affected your life. And you must also tell us about some of your hopes and your fears, and tell us about your profession. How do you make,
okay, let me stop you there. This is far beyond what I would call just a write-up about Giuseppe Verdi, the great composer. It goes into the individual himself that's doing the writing, bringing up their relationship with, let's say, the composer or with art itself.
Exactly. Every writer in this book participates in one way or the other in the arts. Some are composers, songwriters, conductors, theater directors, sculptors. It goes on and on. And I want every single one of them to share a little insight. Well, for instance, we have singers.
Okay.
To share an insight or two of how they sing so wonderfully that you and I or the public might not know.
Well, now, this man obviously is a fan of Verdi, or certainly should be. What about some of the other people? Are they that you've selected, or you've selected related to the paintings? Okay, so they must have a love for whatever they're writing about.
Sure. Let's take Cécile Picard. She is a French lady. She lives in the United States now, and she still has a rough time with English, but she has a fascinating job. She designs sculptures for animated movies. For example, she's working on Madagascar 2. And I met her, and we started talking about classical music, and she suddenly said, "Oh, one of my favorite from when I was a little girl was Eric Satie."
Uh-oh.
And
That
I
pushed
said,
the button.
"Really, what did you like about him? And when did you first come in contact with his music?" And I remember she said to me, "I remember when I was a schoolgirl, I would have to run out to school and I would pack in my little briefcase vinyl records and then go over my grandmother's house and play them after school. And his music always made me feel so melancholy." And then I say to her, "When you have to make a sculpture, do you ever hear his music and tell us about how you make a good sculpture for animated movies today?" So that's how I found Cécile, and that's the kind of folks I have sought out.
Oh, well, now we're really getting down to something. Now let's move from the write-ups to the artwork itself.
Okay, so in designing this book, I decided it had to have great writing about a composer to some extent, but mostly people's experience with classical music and their own experience on their job. And in every single chapter, I've included one painting of the composer of that chapter. So I have a chapter that has a major piece of art on Beethoven, Brahms, Bartók, Mozart, Stravinsky, Verdi, Satie, and a woman, a contemporary woman composer. There's only one woman in this book. We have 12 chapters. 11 of them are white, dead males that are almost household names.
Right.
And one living person is a woman named Chen Yi.
And we did a show related to Chen Yi.
Yes. So I made an arrangement with Leonard Brager, who's been on this show often. And
Well, he's our resident artist, basically.
And I've included one of his portraits in every single chapter. And I've done that because this book, again, is about the arts. And I want the readers to have a visual feast. And also, I want this book to appeal to artists. Artists tend to buy books because they appreciate something like this. And also, they like to look at how another artist has done something. It gives them ideas, okay? And that's extremely important to painters.
So the idea is it may be a layperson's book, but this isn't to say that a professional can't take it and be stimulated.
Oh, professional artists, I think, will be stimulated. If they have to make a portrait of somebody for some reason, or they want to make a portrait, they will look at every one of Leonard's portraits to get ideas. And let's take the musicologists. Well, even though we write this book for the lay person, I have two men, for example, who are writing in one chapter called Charles Ives. Charles Ives is sort of little known in the world of composers by the lay people, but he's considered America's greatest composer. Beethoven, the musicologists can look at his work and they can see the structure, the bolts, how it all hold together and how he forces things. Charles Ives is so brilliant that he has a way to put his music together that it takes a while for even the musicologists to look and find the great structure that underlies it. So I found two men who have studied Charles Ives and love and adore his work. Both of them are writing about the structure that Charles Ives used, and the requirement is that they're not to get so technical. I just want the basic fundamental elements.
Right.
And then they're writing about their own experience in music.
Well, that's what you said at first here, integrating their own ideas related to the composer and their ideas that go beyond that. For instance, you started painting, I think, a couple of years ago now.
Yes.
With the influence of, in fact, Leonard Brager and Harry Cohen.
That's correct.
And so what has doing the research done for you?
The research in the book, well, I would say what has helped me painting myself. I mean, what benefit has it helped me?
Exactly, both for you personally and part two of that would be, well, let's just take a look at that first.
But let me just do this part that comes to my mind.
Okay, sure.
By painting, me being a painter, it has helped me gain an appreciation of what artists want from a book. That, for me, has been extremely valuable. Now, working on this book, which is about music, has allowed me to see things that are common in music, in painting, in writing, and in business. I now can see how we did some things in business. Well, we really also do it in music.
Sure.
And we also do it when we make a painting. And I'd be willing to comment on some of them.
Well, why don't you do that?
Well, I think let's take a painting, all right? And maybe we'll take this painting. There is composition to this painting.
Okay.
And you may not be able to say, oh, it's a perfect composition. But if there's something there that doesn't fit, you will know about this. Everything here fits. And I just want to say, you might notice that over there, there's some blue, and there's some more blue here, and this blue, and this blue, and that blue, all combined so that it appears as one painting, not three. It's deadly if this comes off as 2 or 3 paintings. And, you know, there's some white here, and it's balanced by this and this. And there is an effort here by the painter. And I've never spoken to Beth Puter, who made this painting, about these things. But notice how this is wide over here, and it narrows. It's designed to pull the eye in. Look at that, wide up there, narrow here. She's pulling the eye in. And you got that happening here as well, because this is the center of the painting. It's composition.
Let me stop you. This is amazing. When you started painting, I know that you didn't know anything about what you just said.
I'm like that. I'm like that.
Yes, you are. And now you're absolutely able to define what an artist is achieving, what an artist wants you to do, how they want you to see something. And so that's what you've done. You've commented on that, and you've come a long ways, Michael, when it comes to that.
Okay, now I think people who write music, produce music, just like we have a composition here, and let's just say this is a circle. They're working, I think, with, maybe it's not a circle, maybe it's something else, and everything that happens fits some overall, and there's nothing happening that doesn't fit the overall composition.
That's right.
And although I can't see it here, often in painting, You want to have somebody's eyes sweep along, and suddenly they hit something that surprises them. You can hear a lot of classical music where things are going like this, and all of a sudden, boom,
Right,
and
exactly.
it's a surprise. Sure. And then let me now relate surprise into business.
All right.
Okay? And military, whatever. Like there is the principle of surprise, to use the element of the unexpected to magnify the force applied. So let's go to the music. You can have something happen in music where it's a surprise and it magnifies the emotions, the feelings that the person hears. In business, there are sometimes, let me just do something, well, in a competitive environment, one company keeps their plans secret until the day they're ready to launch, and they want to launch a new software package, let's say, on a certain day,
right,
and be able to deliver it that day and everything. And they have a competitor. And if this is a surprise to the competitor, this development, the surprise magnifies the impact of the resources that were just applied, because the competitor is shell-shocked, can't react for months or whatever. So the same kind of principles apply in business, in music, in art.
And of course, the goals are slightly different from business to music and art, but are they really? They may not be. As I begin to think about what you're saying, the corollary is it comes out virtually the same. The artist is demanding that you take a look at what the central theme is. The musician, the composer, is basically doing the same thing, entertaining but telling a story. Okay.
Yes, and I would like now to go back to the book. One of our writers, Diana, I can't exactly remember, but this is what I love about what some of the writers have done in this book. She writes when she was a young schoolgirl in a boarding school in England, and she went up to her bedroom at night, maybe 8:30 at night, and downstairs somebody came into the dormitory, and I assume it's a man, and the instructor was down there. He started to play some of Brahms's music, and this little young 14 or so, 13-year-old girl lay in her bed, and she remembered hearing the notes as if they were coming up the stairway, and they went into her bedroom, and they sort of filled the room and wrapped themselves around her, and then the music, the notes went out the window into the dark woods. And she then shares some insights into music, into her life. She's a writer. And then she ends her essay with, I made an agreement with my son and my husband that when my final breaths are near, they are to turn on a cassette and play that same Brahms work that I heard when I was in that little room. And that's the way I want to leave this world, and it will be okay.
My God, what an emotional story. And that's what you're trying to get out of these
fight
things.
To find people who can write like that, who can share emotions about themselves and about that are eternal, some concepts of music, something about the composer. And I have a young lady who's writing one of the other essays in the Sauté chapter, and I'm really delighted to have this woman. She is 27 years old, and she is a Black American. She's a brilliant young lady. I like to have women writers, and I like to have minority writers in it.
Why? What's the difference?
Well, there's a few reasons. First of all, I always in my life have tended to try to help the underdog. One can say in the world of classical composers, although she's not a classical composer, she's a harpist. Well, she's a black, and blacks still have a hard time breaking into certain areas. And so she's a young woman, and she's a black, and I like to get her in the book, to give her exposure, and to give her a challenge. Although this young lady is so accomplished at 27, but it will be a bit of a challenge for her to do all the things she must do. And I'm hoping she will share with us what it's like to be a black young lady to try to rise to the top of the world of music.
And this is part of which particular composer are we talking about?
Sauté.
Sauté. Okay.
And the other young woman who's doing the Sauté is Cecile Picard, who is making sculptors. You know, a lot of sculptors, maybe Henry Moore made millions and millions of dollars, but a lot of sculptors have a hard time selling their work. And here she is working for DreamWorks.
Where's the book now in its completion stage?
It's almost completed. I need 4 more essays, 2 for Beethoven. There's a lot of people in this world who have experience with Beethoven. I just have to focus on it. And I need to get 1 more writer for Chen Yi. That's the contemporary woman who's living in Kansas right now, who has produced some great symphonies, great classical works. And then I have one other essay I need, and it escapes.
That's okay. Michael, this sounds like it's the biggest single, although you've written 6 books in the past, is this your challenge compared to the other 6 books?
Well, it is a challenge, but I have to say, in the 6 books, I did the writing, and my wife will say writing is extremely painful for me. I mean, I just, but I do it, I succeed at it. This is different. I'm not really writing this book. I may be called the author, but I call myself the producer of the book. My challenge is to see where the book will fit and be a success in the marketplace, and then find the talent and help nourish the talent and fit it all together into a book. And then the other thing that I play a big role in, which is a challenge, is then to find the right publisher and motivate the publisher to take the book and run with it. And then there's the last thing about making a book. In this world, you just don't make a book. You must go and promote the book extensively. And sometimes I tend to think it's more important to a publisher that you can really promote the book than you can write the book.
And you're writing it. So we're getting fairly close to the end of the program. I think we've got about 3 minutes left or so. So I know you have an announcement right at the end. So anything else you'd like to say about this wonderful project that you've been working on?
In a way, I undertook this program because I'm a baby boomer who has worked like a madman on business things all my life. And I did not have that much time to really delve into a lot of the different arts. This book came about in part because my own interest, expanding interest in the arts and classical music.
Also, now you're in something we didn't cover. Well, I only got about a minute to do it, and that's you're now a vocalist. You're a singer. You're taking music.
That's right.
You've never sang in your life. Is that true?
That's right. In a concert in another 10 weeks, I'm going to sing "These Foolish Things Remind Me of You," a beautiful song, and then I'm going to sing a duet in public with another gentleman. We're going to do a great Frank Sinatra hit, "Witchcraft."
Oh, that's going to be great.
I love singing. I love painting.
Painting and singing, and all this has come out from you participating with the arts.
Yes.
Tell you what, you should make your announcements now. We're so close to the end of the program here.
This painting we usually use when you and I make a show about civic issues, politics, shows about helping people, the people of the United States, elect the right people and be good citizens. It is by the San Francisco artist Beth Puther. Okay. I also want to mention that the First Unitarian Church for the month of July 2007 is going to feature a series of paintings called Remembering New Orleans in Art. And Harry Cohen, Leonard Brager, and I, and possibly some other artists, are contributing 10 major paintings to help remember what the weather, the government did and still is not doing for the poor people of New Orleans and the surrounding area. The last thing I'd like to say, I'm so really excited about what's going to happen in 2008. It is the 70th anniversary of the bombing of Guernica, the city, in the Basque district of Spain. And when that bombing occurred 70 years ago, Pablo Picasso became so upset that he decided to make a 26-foot-long painting, black and white, called Guernica, and it's become the greatest anti-war peace painting in the world. And that the San Francisco Basque Cultural Center has adopted my painting. Oh, there it is up there. That's my painting. It's called Guernica After Picasso. In fact, this week they are actually showing it for an event, but next year, 2008, they will be extensively showing that painting. And any organization that promotes peace, if they would like the rights to use the image of my painting, you can't get Picasso to give it to you, but I will give them the rights,
okay.
No charge.
Well, Michael, it's been wonderful, absolutely great to be with you on this program as co-hosting, and once again, the Killen Report with Michael Killen and Charlie Klass.
Thank you, Joey.